Hi there, Blind Prime here, and I came to the realization that I've never really talked to you about my vision. I've talked to you all sorts of things about ways to fight the depression that comes with loss of vision, but I realized I haven't actually told you about my loss of vision. So today, let me tell you the story of how I went blind, and maybe you'll understand a bit more about me and why I do the things I do. So, I was born with rod cone dystrophy. Now, the uh, the scientists out there and the doctors out there, just so you know, at some point decided that rod cone dystrophy was just too simple of a name, and too many people without medical educations were actually being able to remember said name and talk about it. This is my opinion, okay? This is in fact, this is just how I feel about the subject. I'm just getting that straight out there. Uh, I know there's probably a million and one reasons why they changed the name, but the one that I care about is the fact that they made it from rod cone dystrophy to, and prepare for this, X-linked retinitis pigmentosa with macular degeneration. There we go. I said it all in one. X-linked retinitis pigmentosa with macular degeneration. Yeah, it went from rod cone dystrophy or cone rod dystrophy to that. Now, what is the difference between cone rod and rod cone? Well, rod cone dystrophy is when your rods in your eyes continue to get damaged. Your immune system doesn't like them for some reason, and occasionally it just decides, I'm gonna just take out this rod, and then your immune system just takes out a rod. And the rods in your eyes control your light and dark sensitivity. So when you go outside in a bright day and your eyes adjust to that, that's your rods and your pupil working together to change how you see. When you go out at night and there's like a full moon and some stars, your rods and your pupils change in order for you to see in that light. For me, in the rods, think of them as switches. You switch it for daylight, you switch it for nighttime. Daylight, nighttime, daylight, nighttime. These little rods are constantly switching back and forth between one to the next. For me, when my rods were destroyed, they were put onto the daylight side. So I had no night vision. And as I grew up, I slowly witnessed as my night vision went away. I distinctly remember I used to point out constellations with my father whenever I was like 6 and 7 years old. But by the time I was 9, I could only see the North Star. And by the time I was 12, I couldn't see any stars. They were just gone. My light sensitivity wasn't enough anymore to actually see the stars. So when I looked up in the sky, all I ever saw was the moon and sometimes Mars. And if I woke up early enough, I would see Venus rising. And that was always nice because it's always just been a pretty planet to watch rise. I used to love watching the planets rise. I'd wake up early in the morning at twilight just to watch the skies as all of the astral bodies just kind of showed up. And then you could watch them disappear as the light got brighter from the sun and you lost the ability to see them. It was something that's magical, and I suggest to everybody do it at least once a year because it is a special thing. It is really, really cool to watch that, and I recommend it highly. So that's rod cone dystrophy, and that's the one I had. Now, cone rod dystrophy is where your cones are attacked, not your rods. So you lose your color sensitivity because you think of a rod as a switch. Now think of a cone as a stack of color wheels, each getting smaller than the one below it, and they're always spinning to try and match the colors that you see with the color wheels on the nerve ending. And then once those colors get matched, the nerve ending sends the impulse to your brain going, hey, that's lime green. Yeah. Or hey, that's a shiny silver color. Yeah, that's what your cones do. They inform your brain about the colors around you, and they constantly work. They tirelessly work to tell you everything going on around you. Like, you appreciate your eyes because the sheer amount of work happening inside of them is just boggling. All right? So that's what I grew up with. Every year I lost a little bit more vision because macular degeneration is a degeneration of one's macular. It was losing. I was losing my sight every day. Every time I went to bed, I lost a little more when I woke up. It was just something that I grew used to growing up. And luckily for me, I had macular degeneration with retinitis pigmentosa. Now, anybody who has retinitis pigmentosa, chances are you're going to go completely blind. Anybody with macular degeneration, chances are you're going to go completely blind or really close to it on either case. With retinitis pigmentosa and macular degeneration, with their powers combined to create the most fucked up Power Ranger in history, um, the story changes. Instead of me going completely blind, one day the retinitis pigmentosa and the macular degeneration were going to burn themselves out because think of them as two opposing wildfires burning. And one day they were going to meet, and whatever was left after they met and burnt themselves out was the vision I was going to have left for the rest of my life. It wasn't going to change until I got older. Now, that is something I dealt with until I was 30. Yeah, 30. Then stuff changed. I got my college degree. I did a lot of fun things, and I made a decision that is a decision that, personally speaking, I regret making. It is one of the few regrets in my life. And I know people say live without regret, but sometimes you come across something that you make a decision in your life that you look back on and really, really wish you hadn't made that decision. Really wish that you had made a different choice. And for me, I was given the opportunity to have a surgery that would replace the cornea in my eye and give me permanent contact lenses so that I could better see. But, I should have looked up the surgery more, and that's on me. Um, I didn't realize that they would be using the as bright lasers as they were going to be using. I didn't realize these things. I was under the impression that like the laser would cut off from the side of your eye and kind of cut in. And I explained to the eye people, like, I just can't handle bright lights directly into my eyes. It's going to burn out some nerve endings. So that was understood. They told me there was a small percentage chance of complete failure, and I would go completely blind. And I accepted this chance. And then I did the surgery. And during the surgery, I learned that I'm allergic to Versed, which is a common thing to give somebody for surgeries. I have what is called a paradoxal reaction to Versed. So most people, whenever they take an anesthesia like that, they grow numb, their mind grows foggy, and they wish to just kind of sleep, or at least just kind of let the world exist around them, or something like that. For me, a paradoxal reaction is what occurs. And a paradoxal reaction is when it does the exact opposite, and doctors scratch their heads and go, how the hell did this do the exact opposite? So when they gave me Versed, my mind went from being a little foggy to alert, like I had just drunk 3 pots of coffee. Every nerve ending in my body went from normal status to hyper sensitive status. Like, it's if my hand got touched, it felt a little painful. My nerves were so hyper sensitive at that point. That, and I tell people, like, they ask me when I go to the doctor and stuff, and they're like, hey, rank your pain scale from 1 to 10. And I explained to them, like, my pain scale changed after the surgery I had in 2017 because of the Versed mix-up. I now have a pain scale that is different because that was the most painful experience of my life. I have never had an experience that was that painful. I haven't had one since. It causes me to shake a little bit, remembering the pain that I felt whenever they got that anesthesia wrong. And I don't know why I have a paradoxal reaction to Versed. The doctors can't explain it. And the only doctor that my insurance covers doesn't do blood tests. So, I don't know. Oh, well. So that's the that's what happened there. I got the surgery. It was terrible. It was awful. And for some reason, my left eye, started having a major visual problem. Whenever your automatic focus is broken in your camera and it just constantly goes yeet 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 to try and focus, but it keeps screwing up and refocusing and then changing its aperture and refocusing and changing its aperture and refocusing. That's what my left eye started doing. It wasn't solid. It was always moving up or down, up or down, up or down, and it never could focus on anything. The time I would focus on something, the eye would go up and then unfocus, and then I'd focus, and I would go down and unfocus, and I could never get it focused. The eye would refuse to listen to me anymore. I lost control over my left eye. And I tried to explain this to people. I was like, I don't want to do the right eye surgery. I'm worried about it. And I talked to plenty of people, and they all told me I should just do it and I should persevere through it. Stiff upper lip kind of attitude. And I did, even though I didn't want to. I should have stopped myself from getting the second surgery, but I thought the second one would be better. Everyone told me the second one would be better, and I foolishly went with it. I should have paid more attention to myself and had more confidence in myself to put my foot down and say, no, I've already fucked up my left eye. I'm not going to screw up any more of my vision. And that's on me. And that's where my regret lies. I should have, in that moment when I knew something was wrong, stopped. And one of the reasons I'm making this video is to inform you out there that if you feel something has gone wrong, stop. If you have another surgery to do, stop. Get a second opinion. Question things. If your family tries to push you into the surgery, if you need to get angry at them, to convince them that you want to stop. I wish I had gotten angry at my family and convinced them that I wanted to stop. But they were blinded by the fact that I had the chance to see. They wanted me to see better so badly that they did not listen to the words I was saying. And I can't hate them for that. I can only forgive them for that because they wanted the best for me. My friends and my family, they wanted the best for me. And I wanted the best for me. So I went with the second surgery. And this is why I've made the video. Because something happened after that second surgery that I didn't know about. And no one ever told me about. And it wasn't even in the risk category for the surgery. I remember distinctly all the risks on that surgery, and I accepted all risks on that surgery. But there was one thing that wasn't brought up. One thing that I ended up suffering with, and it will be with me for the rest of my life. And that one thing is called Charles Bonnet Syndrome. And it's fucking French. So that means it's spelled Charles Bonnet Syndrome. Remember that. Bonnet. It's the eye doctors and eye professionals will call it Charles Bonnet Syndrome, but it's pronounced Bonnet, but it's spelled Bonnet. So remember that. Charles Bonnet Syndrome. Look it up. It is terrifying. And if you wanted to know, why are all these people seeing ghosts and stuff? That comes directly from Charles Bonnet Syndrome. And I'm not going to say it the way the fucking French say it. I'm sorry if you're French out there, but look. That name's stupid. It screws people up. B's should not sound like M's. I'm just going to say that right now. As a blind person trying to look things up because I was trying to look this up, I couldn't find anything on it because I kept spelling it Monet. And nothing in it was say, Charles Money Syndrome. That isn't a real thing. Okay? It's Bonnet. Now, what does Bonnet Syndrome do for you? What does Charles Bonnet Syndrome do? Well, Charles Bonnet Syndrome is it's something that if I had known it existed, I would have actually walked away from the surgery if I had known I even had a chance of getting it. It is a condition where your eyes have deteriorated to a point where your brain is just making shit up now. Okay? You start seeing things. It may be old family members. It may be your best friend walking around your apartment. It may be people that you think about. You may see your dead cat walking around. It's not real. It's all fake. It's all hallucinations brought on by Charles Bonnet Syndrome. Charles Bonnet Syndrome creates hallucinations constantly. Even when you shut your eyes, you will still see the hallucinations. I see the hallucinations 100%, 24/7. And you know what mine are? They're not fun like little family members or or animals I miss, or flowers growing on my wall like some experience, or creepy demonic ghosts. That would be exciting. No, 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 no. I saw skulls everywhere, and they kept multiplying, and I thought I was going insane. The only thing that kept me from believing I was insane was the fact that I kept thinking I'm going insane. And I understand anybody who believes that they may be going insane is not really insane yet. But I felt like I was going insane. And I thought I was seeing stuff. I thought I was having a psychological break. And in a way, Charles Bonnet Syndrome is a psychological break, but not in the way I thought. And I, for 3 months, believed that I was going clinically insane. For 3 months, I had to deal with that. In the fact that I kept every day more and more and more of my vision was gone. And they did not give me any sort of physical therapy. I wasn't told how to handle myself after the surgery. I wasn't told what to do, how to take care of my eyes, anything like that. They just told me, wear this for a couple of days, be done. They didn't explain to me any physical therapy, any eye trainings I could do to ensure that my eyes would work the best possible way. It was just a cut your eye open, slip in the thing, and walk your happy ass home. So, after 3 months of dealing with this, I finally, I came to the doctor and I started crying. I started screaming at him like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with my vision, but I keep seeing skulls. They're everywhere. They're all in the room right now, and they're constantly stacking up against one another. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know. And I was having a full-blown panic attack about this. Till my eye doctor said, oh, that sounds like Charles Bonnet Syndrome. And I'm like, what the ever-loving fuck is Charles Bonnet Syndrome? And then I was explained to what Charles Bonnet Syndrome is. And everybody I asked, what is Charles Bonnet Syndrome? In the blind community, like I go to some disability resources for the blind and things like that. They were like, oh yeah, Charles Bonnet Syndrome. I got a lot of people that I see and help them out through daily activities with Charles Bonnet. I was told by one government employee that she's got plenty of people with Charles Bonnet Syndrome on her docket. A couple of them see flowers growing on the walls. Some of them see dead family members. One of them constantly sees vehicles that aren't there in their backyard. They're always complaining about people parking in their backyard, but when they walk up to the vehicle, it's not actually there at all. It's just something they're seeing. And I partly wanted to make this video to explain to you that I'm suffering from Charles Bonnet Syndrome. And the skulls went away. The skulls went away after I figured out it was Charles Bonnet Syndrome, because this is also psychological. Your brain is trying its best to figure out what the hell you're seeing. And with the understanding that it's Charles Bonnet Syndrome, the next day I woke up no longer seeing skulls. I now see fractal patterns in Mandelbrot sets. And that's not better, but it's not worse. But at the same time, it is worse, because where the skulls allowed me to see a little bit of the world, the freaking fractals are across my entire vision and constantly moving and constantly changing their shape and form, and how dark or light they are in the rest of everything around me. So I can't see through them. Like, I can kind of get the glimpse that there's lights going on. I can see lights, like my ring light there, and I can kind of get the shape of the ring light, but I have to see through this cloudy layer of Mandelbrot sets. And the best way I have to describe it is, you take some thin wax paper, or just some regular paper, and then just cut a bunch of stuff into it. All right? And then, make a bunch of little patterns and stuff with that paper. And then make more patterns with another piece of paper, and make more patterns with another piece of paper. and then lay those pieces of paper on top of each other so that there's little cracks and little ebbies that you can actually see all the way through the paper. And then put that paper up to your eye and look around, and you'll get an idea of how I see. It's because I see lights, but everything else is just crowded with these hallucinations, and it is a constant thing. You know, I was at MegaCon, hallucinating the entire time. I go to sleep, hallucinating the entire time. I go to the store, hallucinating the entire time. I sometimes get upset and I do cry at night because sometimes I just want to be able to close my eyes and see nothing. I just want to be able to close my eyes and not see anything. But that isn't the case for me. Even when I close my eyes, they don't go away. They're always there. They're always there. They're always present. And it is just one thing that I have to live with for the rest of my life. And it absolutely sucks. And I won't lie to you about that. It causes me a lot of mental distress because I never get a break from it. And I understand a little bit about how people, you know, with chronic pain deal with it. And I get it because I'm chronically seeing hallucinations even when I sleep. And, you know, my only escape is actual sleep. When I dream, I see in full color, full perceptions, everything's there in my dreams. And then I wake up to the hallucinations again. And sometimes I wish I could just go back to sleep because at least when I dreamed, I didn't have the hallucinations. At least when I dreamed, I wasn't constantly staring through fractal patterns, trying to figure out, you know, is that a light I'm looking at, or is it just a reflection of light from something else? So that's what's up with me and my vision. I have about 2 to 3% vision left. That is basically I could see the occasional movement and I can see light. And that's it. And before I did the surgery, I had 10% vision. I could still read. I know I had to do high contrast, but I could still read. I could still look at pictures. It wasn't easy for me, but I could still do those things. So I guess what I'm saying here is sometimes risky surgeries aren't worth the risk. Get a second opinion. Talk to people. And don't talk to your family about it because your family may just want what's best for you. And they'll ignore what you're saying because what you're saying is just, oh, you're being scared. You're getting cold feet. They know what's best for you. No, talk to a therapist. Go to a Catholic church and talk to a priest about this. Get yourself opinions that aren't associated with you. Talk to strangers and get their opinions about it. Figure it out for yourself before you go in there. Wrap yourself in an armor of knowledge and understanding so that you don't have the same thing happen to you that happened to me. Please don't suffer from Charles Bonnet Syndrome. Be careful out there. And all those individuals who are suffering from Charles Bonnet Syndrome, I feel you. I feel you. I understand you. And it's come to my attention in these past few years. I've been seeing more and more videos and listening to more and more Reddit stories of people seeing weird things, not understanding how they're seeing weird things. And those weird things don't ever show up on camera, but they're weird. And they may be suffering from Charles Bonnet Syndrome and just not know it. And that's the worst part, in my opinion, is at least I know that I'm suffering from this. But anybody out there who's having difficulty and you're always seeing something, you may actually be suffering from this without realizing it. So please, talk to an eye doctor if you are. If you're seeing things like that, talk to an eye doctor and talk with them. There are some medications that can help. None of them help me, but maybe they'll help you. Anyway, I know this has been kind of a depressing, morose episode, but I wanted you to understand, you know, where I'm coming from with my vision and, you know, why I'm blind today. What happened? What were the steps that led to it? And a couple of ironic things. Well, only, you know, big ironic thing. Other than the fact that I'm doing YouTube all by myself, by the way. No editors, No sighted people assist me in making these videos. I just want to put that out there. I, as a blind person, do all of this stuff. Nobody helps. I've got no support network when it comes to this channel except for people that share my videos. So be aware of that. It's just, if you're ever wondering why do the videos, why they are like they are, they're all one-take shots. There's no editing involved. There's nothing like that. So it was just, I shoot it, I watch it, and then I post it. But I want you to know out there, if you're suffering from Charles Bonnet, you're not alone. I'm here for you. Leave me comments. You can reach me at the email address blindprime1987@gmail.com if you need to talk to somebody about this stuff. If you need somebody to share with, I'll listen to you as you share. I'll read your email. I'll do my best to reply to it. But you're not alone if you're suffering from this. There are other people out there that suffer from Charles Bonnet Syndrome. And I just wanted you to be aware that it exists and that I'm a person suffering from it. And I want you to understand where I'm coming from whenever I'm doing these videos. These Transformers and these G.I. Joes and the Legos that I do on my channel Blind Builds, with a Z, by the way, they help me. They help me handle the mental fatigue that comes from seeing hallucinations all the time. They help me get my mind straight and in order. And I hope to God that the stuff I talk about on my channels can help you as well. I've been Blind Prime, and this giant orange thing sleeping in the corner. Come here. Look, we've done such a morose video. We've got to have a cat. We've got to have a cat involved. Here, I'll hug the cat. Here. Sorry, I made you sneeze. Thanks again for watching. Until next Prime, bye-bye for now.